What's happening, lazy bunch of Star Wars fans? Dan here, and we're doing another episode of Star Wars Battlefront Retro Gaming Edition. Whoa! So, funny story, I actually played through this map and I had a whole 14 minutes of dialogue prepared, and I had this whole speech about Star Wars Episode 8 and why I thought it was a decent movie, not a terrible movie. I had all of this planned out. I even said all this stuff that I wanted to say perfectly. And then I realized I wasn't even recording. So, fun times with that. But here we are. So, I'm just going to jump right into it and start discussing why I chose this map to be the second to last map as opposed to the last. Now, I know a lot of fans out there are probably thinking, why isn't this the last map of your Star Wars Battlefront Retro Gaming series? Because this is the final battle of Episode 6. For those of you who don't know, I mean, you should be watching this if you didn't know. This is just by far a great map. Obviously, the Star Wars Battlefront, and I think it was 2015 it was released, or 2014, 2015. That one had an excellent Endor map as well, but I honestly love this one so much more. It's so much simpler, so much more streamlined. It makes more sense. It's so much more easier to see. I love this one so much. I think it's even bigger too. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I definitely enjoy this map. I really do. And the reason why it's the second to last, though, is because the last map I've saved is because it's my favorite. I'm not gonna tell you what it is until we get there. If you do have a list of maps, on Wikipedia or something, Google it. You can find out what it is, or you can just wait the week and find out. But I know what you're gonna say. It seems very selfish of me to save the last, Star Wars video to be my favorite one. And that's maybe because, I don't know, I felt like I really wanted to do my favorite one last. I have this whole Star Wars database that loves, that felt like it probably would have been better to do Endor last, but I mean, I'm just gonna go personal with this one. I love the next map so much. It is just perfect in so many ways, and I'm gonna talk about why it's perfect in so many ways. But this one had to be done second to last because obviously it is the Battle of Endor. It is a very notable and memorable battle. It's very important. It's the battle that defied the Empire. It was what brought peace to the galaxy. So, with that being said, I'm going to jump right into the next thing. And the next topic was Episode 8. Now, I know a lot of you... Ooh, geez, that guy hit me. He hit me with his vehicle. How dare he? Episode 8. I actually thought it was pretty decent. A lot of people hate it. And I really... I get where some of them are coming from. And I'm going to give you the things that I thought was pretty weird, too. But I'm going to give Rian Johnson a lot of credit on this one. I think he did a great job. I think there are things that could have been done better. There are things that could have been done differently. But in the end, it was a Star Wars movie that gave me something that I never actually had before while watching a Star Wars movie. Emotion. I've always watched Star Wars, with excitement and enjoyment and, love and happiness, like Episode 4, A New Hope is like, it's Star Wars, or like Episode 7, it's Star Wars is back, it's always fun. But Episode 8 did something for me that I've never felt before, and that was like pure sadness. In a good way. Well, maybe in a sad way. But, obviously Carrie Fisher passing away was obviously a big deal. And for me, I've never had a tear in my eye while watching Star Wars. Like, it's never happened before. And just seeing that scene with Mark Hamill going up to Carrie Fisher saying no one has ever really gone, like, that gets to me every time. It's just like that in general just hits me hard every time, and that's something that no other Star Wars movie has done for me. Yes, it could be because Carrie Fisher actually did die, but it's one of those where it's Rian Johnson capitalized on all these things with Mark Hamill's character and Harrison Ford's character that evidently led to something so much different. He was obviously going for emotion in that scene. He was obviously going for something that's going to make us feel sad. But it didn't make us sad in the way he thought. It made us sad in a completely different way, which ultimately worked in his favor, and that's something that I have never experienced. I've never experienced that in this while watching a Star Wars movie before, so I give him that. The other thing that I give him also is he is not only the writer, he's the director of Episode 8. And me, I've actually been in the film industry, so I know a thing or two about the roles of, you know, directors. And of course the director is there to make the tough decisions, you know, to make the right call on certain things. But the main thing a director is supposed to do is direct actors. He's supposed to direct the scene and make the scene come to life. But his main thing is to direct actors. And Rian Johnson did a spectacular job directing Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver. He did a fantastic job. All these characters, like when you watch episode 7, Daisy Ridley, honestly, she is wonderful of a person she is. I always just thought of her characters as in episode 7. She was awesome. She kicked butt, but her personality, I just didn't feel anything. In episode 8, I actually felt something, you know, and I thought that was something that was incredible. Adam Driver was performed much more stronger of an angrier person than he did in episode 7, and I thought that was also very well done. The other thing is, and this is the part that a lot of people disagree with, and that is the story. Snoke, spoiler alert, Snoke dying halfway through. Rey's parentage, you know, the fact that she's not related to Luke or Han, you know, all these things I honestly thought were really good ideas. I'm going to start with the thing that I don't really have a strong case for, and then I'm going to go on to the thing that I have a really strong case for. So for the first thing is Snoke dying. Obviously that was something that people were not expecting. People were, you know, said, we don't know him anymore. You know, what's the point of his character if, you know, they didn't tell us anything about him? Well, if you look back, when episode 6 came out, you could even ask your parents, your grandparents, they will tell you the same thing. When Palpatine died, we had no idea, when the Emperor died, we had no idea who he was. He was just some random dude that was Darth Vader's boss, and he died in the same movie he appeared in. Same exact deal. And back then, there wasn't much of a case for the Emperor as it is for Snoke now, obviously, because Snoke is more mysterious. There's much more, the universe is much larger for us to know that Snoke had to have come from somewhere. But obviously, you know, Snoke dying was definitely an interesting fact. But for us as viewers now, this opens the realm to much more bigger possibilities for episode 9, and I think Rian Johnson put Snoke's death and Rey's parentage at the almost the exact middle of the movie, was basically his way of telling us, hey, this is where it's going to be different from here on out. It's not going to be nostalgia the whole way through, baby. It's going to be completely different. So I think that was actually a really cool moment on his part. The other thing that I very much agree with is Rey's parentage. And I think this is a really good idea in the sense that anyone could have the Force. Anyone could be anything, you know. I think that idea that, you know, anyone could be anything is much more powerful than, you know, the Skywalkers just being the only people destroying the galaxy, you know what I mean? Or the people that we know. And I think that's something that Rian Johnson did very well with as well. So that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. I mean, there are definitely things that episode 8 that I disagreed with. Could they have done the Mary Poppins Leia scene differently? Yeah, I agree. I thought that was kind of odd. You know, the whole thing with Finn and Rose, you know, going out to that planet with the casino. Yeah, that was kind of I didn't really enjoy it, but I did like it. I thought it was cool and fun and beautiful. And, you know, there are things that I agree with that I agree that are bad, but there are ultimately a lot of things that I think were good. So I think Rian Johnson just had a lot of his plate to deal with all at once. There was so much they had to do. Not to mention, J.J. Abrams was originally going to do episode 7 or episode 8, but he turned that down, and then Lucasfilm obviously had to go with Rian Johnson. And then J.J. came back to do episode 9, so it's just a whole mess. So anyway, I'm going to leave it off with that. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you all next week for the final Star Wars Battlefront retro gaming video.